Hey guys, today's subscriber shoutout goes to Looney Joe. Thank you for subscribing and being a subscriber. And today's commenter shoutout goes to Angel, the MSP tuber. Thank you for commenting and watching my videos. Now let's get into the video. Giving you guys tips and telling you how I got a lot of beaks. I made a video like this last year and I thought I should remake it because my editing was so bad, my microphone quality was so bad, and every time I watched it I just cringe. So I'm making a new one that's better. As you can see, I have quite a lot of beaks, so I'm going to be giving you guys my tips on getting a lot of beaks so that you guys can have a lot of beaks as well. And I'm going to say one more thing before the video starts because I know people are going to ask, I'm not giving you beaks, I'm sorry, but I've talked about it many times on my channel and I've talked about why. And I don't really like repeating myself, so if you ask me, I'm not going to say anything because I don't like repeating myself like I just said, but you can work for it yourself, just like I did, so yeah. So now let's start with the first tip. This is a very, very, very big and important tip that you must do. Do not hoard your items. I know it might be hard for some people, but you really have to try your best not to do that. I literally made 2 million beaks a few years ago simply just by selling everything I did not wear, because that's when I made my color code. I think 3 or 4 years ago I made my color code and I literally sold every single item that I did not wear or did not see myself wearing, and if it wasn't colorable. So you really do need to sell everything you do not wear or you don't see yourself ever wearing, because it's really important and it's honestly just a waste of space and you can make beaks from it. And no matter how expensive the item is, even if it's worth like not a lot, all of that adds up and you can get a lot of beaks from it. This one is another good one that you should do. I can understand if you don't want to or you can't do this because you're planning on making a color code or something. But it is really good to sell your colorables because they sell for much more beaks than non-colorable items. I have made a ton of beaks just by selling colorable things, and another thing you could do is you could get woos and then you could buy things in the shop with the woos and then sell that stuff for beaks. It's also really good to do that during sales, like if everything's 50% off, because then you can buy even more stuff. I know a few people who do that all the time, and they make a lot of beaks from doing that, but as always, you want to sell it cheaper than marketplace so that people will buy it. This is a small tip, but you do have to remember that it all adds up. You need to remind yourself every single day to log on every single day and spin the daily wheel. Even if you don't get a lot of beaks every day, it does add up over time, and you can get a lot. It may not seem like it helps much, but trust me, it does. And it's a small thing that can make a big difference. It is really good to sell your stuff in a shop, or at least just sell it in a shop pod. This is simply just because the fee on shop pods is less than the marketplace. So I'm pretty sure if you sell something on the marketplace, there's a 20% fee, which means that if you sell something, it'll take off 20% of that. But on the shop pod, it's only a 10% fee, so you will get more beaks from selling stuff in a shop pod. Making a shop is a really great thing to do because, again, you get more beaks. And you can make quite a profit off of that, but if you are going to sell stuff on the marketplace, if someone asks you to lower, you can tell them yes, but if they buy in a shop pod, so then you'll still get a little more beaks than you would if it was in the marketplace. This is another thing that seems small, but is actually really helpful and can make a big difference. So I recommend selling your stuff in a shop pod or a shop, or at least trying to most of the time. Using the Beak Center is also another small way to get beaks, but again, you do have to remember that it adds up over time. Honestly, I kind of feel like the Beak Center is underrated and not many people use it. But it's actually kind of good. For example here, you can spend 300 beaks and then wait 2 days, and it will give you 1,300 beaks. So you basically just spend a certain amount of beaks and then wait a certain amount of time, and it will give you more beaks than you spent, which is kind of cool. But the more beaks you get, the longer you have to wait. This is another one that is small but adds up over time. You are going to want to spend your votes every single day, whether it's on a random person, a backup account, or a friend. Voting gives you beaks. You can even ask other people or your friends to vote you as well, because you also get beaks from that. I'm about to show you a little trick that helps you get 2 times more beaks when you are voting someone, but it does take a while. So you are going to want to vote someone and then wait until the vote above their head goes away before you vote them again. And for some reason that gives you double the amount of beaks. I'm not sure why. It does take a while, but it is totally worth it in the end because it adds up over time, like I said earlier. I honestly cannot stress this enough. This tip is so important, and it might be the most important tip besides don't hoard. I know this is going to be very, very difficult for some people, but you need to save your beaks, and you cannot spend it immediately after getting it. Otherwise, you wouldn't have a lot of beaks because, you know, it's all gone right after you get it. I used to have this problem really badly, and I would always go to shops and spend all of my beaks the moment I got it, but I taught myself not to do that. I kind of forced myself. You need to avoid going into shops and looking at the marketplace if this is that hard for you. Now, obviously, I'm not going to tell you when to buy stuff. I mean, that's your choice, but saving your beaks is very, very important. Otherwise, if you don't save it, you won't have a lot of beaks because, like I said, you just spend it right after you get it. But if you do want a lot of beaks and you really want to start saving, you need to limit yourself from going to shops and looking at the marketplace or just any place where you can buy items, because this is a really, really big and important tip, I swear. This is a must. It's a need. Like, this is required if you want to have a lot of beaks. This is another one that is really good. There are so many things that people will pay you for. You could do someone's homework. You could gift people for beaks. You could draw stuff for someone. You could make a Woozworld edit for somebody. You could get those recolor tokens and recolor people's items. I know someone who does that, and they make a lot of beaks. You could even hit up a WoozTuber and ask them if they would pay you for making their captions. I actually pay people for making my captions. Right now I am paying this one girl. She always makes my captions. Credit to her. Her name's Eleanoor. I always give her credit in the description of my videos. But there are literally so many things you can do for people. There's a few people I know, and sometimes, I'm not gonna lie, I pay them to do my homework sometimes. But yeah, you can pretty much do whatever you want. There's a lot of things you can do for people, like I said, and you can get a ton of beaks by doing that. I used to go to this one girl for doing my homework, and her prices were very high. One time I paid her 240,000 beaks for doing an assignment for me. So I mean, your pricing and stuff is all up to you, honestly, but make sure it's a good price and it's not too low and not too high. People in the Woozworld dealing community, they always have so much beaks. Like, I have seen multiple people on this game who have like 60 million beaks, 20 million beaks, 40 million. It's actually crazy. So if you thought I had a lot of beaks, there is so many people out there who have way more. In the dealing community, the amount of beaks I have isn't really considered a lot. I mean, it is, but there is definitely a lot of other people who have way more. But if you aren't in the dealing community, it definitely is considered a lot. And I always see people like bragging about how they have 1, 2, 3 million beaks. And inside I'm just kind of laughing because I know that's not considered very much at all in the dealing community. Like, some people will pay like $1 for like over 100K. But different people have different rates for that stuff and how they like to price their things. I don't really do that stuff that often, or at all really, so I don't really know much about it, but I have definitely seen some stuff that people have posted on Instagram and Facebook, in Woozworld groups on Facebook, people's stories on Instagram. So yeah, if you want a lot of beaks, you should follow the tips that I have in this video. I do most, if not all of them, and they really help me a lot. Also, you have to keep in mind, I have spent years and years working on the amount of beaks I have, and I'm really proud of myself. And it took me that long because I don't do deals on Woozworld that often, or no, I don't do them at all. So yeah, that's why it took me so long, but I'm really proud of myself because I worked really hard. And that's kind of why I said that I don't really donate to anyone, because I worked really hard for my beaks, and you can too. I used to get people asking me about it all the time and asking if I could give them beaks. So that's why I made a few videos talking about why I can't, and yeah. Like, I'm just here to make videos and entertain people. I don't want to be seen as your favorite bank. Like, that's not what I am. I'll be happy to help, maybe if you're scammed, if you got scammed or hacked, and you have solid proof and evidence of it. I used to help people with that a lot, but then people started using it to their advantage and just like lying. So I stopped for a while and I don't really do it anymore, but I might start doing it again. I don't know. But yeah, I know I kind of went off topic. I'm really sorry about that. Anyway, I hope you guys follow these tips and I hope they help you. And I also hope you enjoyed this video. I love you guys so much and goodbye.